What is going on, everybody? It is your Wednesday night Sports Delight, the platform sports talk show with your boy Smooth, along with
Funny,
when it's about sports
it becomes our business.
and business. Just picked up what is going on.
Hump day. Just trying to get over the hump. How you doing?
Man, I'm hanging, but just seeing that video, how does it make you feel, man, about 2020 as a whole?
I know everybody says it's trash, throw it all away. Every time you think you hear and read something bad, the following week something else comes along and tears our heart apart.
Man,
Ah,
and like it's crazy because it didn't dawn on me until Don. I wonder why I said Don. But anyway, it didn't dawn on me
I
until
like that. I like that plug. I like that.
it didn't dawn on me until someone posted on social media. They were saying the Black Mamba died, and now the Black Panther died. It's like, what is really going on?
I'm telling you. And this is just September.
Right.
And I'm saying just because a lot can happen in the next 4 months of 2020.
And just so you know, y'all, boom, there it is. So you can see it.
Room for everybody black.
There it is right there, man.
Yes, appreciate that.
Man, it was last Friday. I was just stunned when I saw the news. I was like, nah, this can't be real. The same way I did for Kobe, I did for Chadwick. Let me check these different sites.
So I heard of it, yeah. Let's
and
make
I'm
sure
like, this can't
verified.
be. And then Kevin Hart, he had a little special that was on Netflix, in which he was kind of going over what he was going through over the last couple of years, from his gay slur, in which the Oscars didn't want him at that time. They wanted to apologize to his infidelities, and then there was an episode in which he had Chadwick on, and they all met up at, I guess, Kevin's home or wherever his production studio is, and they wanted to discuss a movie. And Chadwick, and I could tell just from seeing other videos too, he kind of reminds me of Denzel. Like, he wants to have certain movies. He doesn't just want to have that status quo kind of movie where the black guys is this. No, he wanted to have something that's going to define him. So he's very picky. So he said, let me check out, the script, and I'll get back with you. He not know, because you're Kevin Hart, yeah, let's go. No, he want to check stuff out. And when I saw him at that time, I was like, man, he got like hella skinny. And then I thought it was more so because of a movie that he was going to do, which I found out it was true that it was a movie that he was, The Five Bloods, I believe, was on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
So he was getting that together. And shouts out to those who were loyal, because he told us, his family knew it, people around the circle, they all knew, but out of respect for him, nothing during this social media time.
Nothing leaked out.
Nothing leaked
shout
out
to their family in that circle.
So that's big time. But rest in peace, man, because it's still a stunner.
And my
cancer
shirt says "Be courageous," and it's for American Cancer Society.
There you go.
Be courageous. So that's important too. And fighting any type of cancer, it's no joke.
Yeah. So he was lost, man, once again in 2020. Don't know what's gonna happen with the movie when they get everything together, but we just hope that it's right. Like I think about the Fast and the Furious when Paul Walker died and how they had to ride off with this character. I like how they did that. So hopefully, I know Marvel, they're smart. They'll do the right thing and make things happen. But so rest in peace to him. Much love to his family and friends and actresses who he left behind, who loved him so much.
I mean, he got a lot of love from the sports world.
Yes.
That's when I saw clips and videos of him at games, or people giving him respect, and think of the Jackie Robinson roles he played.
Yeah.
So that was groundbreaking, and I was like, yeah. I mean, he, like you said, like Denzel, particular about the roles he decided to pick up and take, and he studied his craft. I mean, he did 3 biographical movies in this short few years. Like, not too many people do that.
Wow, going through chemo.
Yes, that's a lot. Carry on. So
should that remember Craig Sager from TNT trying to how he was traveling from game to game
while he was battling cancer too.
Early in the day he was at the hospital getting treatment, then traveling to go to a conference finals game with TNT. Like, ain't nothing going on, you know?
Living life to the fullest and do everything you try to want to get accomplished when you can, when you know your time is limited. So, you know.
Stuart Scott.
I still miss him. I say that all the time because he was the first person back when I was in high school and I started watching SportsCenter. First person I looked to and admired. So I still miss him to this day.
Yeah. Shouts out to your sister Suzanne.
Hi, Coach Goodwin.
Said, what's good, fam? What's going on with you? Congrats on your success. Now you are, what did you say, the assistant
athletic director at
Big
Bashan
time.
High School.
Big time.
That's my sister.
Shouts out to
Congrats.
the ladies, man. Shouts out. So thanks for watching this show once again. Your Wednesday night Sports Delight. We have a very special show in store for you. For those watching for the first time, we've been going on strong for 3 years.
Yes.
Let's see. Deontay Mahomes says best team he coached. Okay. So
hold on, Deontay. Hold on.
is for our special guest who's coming
Hold
up
on,
very soon.
Deontay.
You're gonna find out. We're gonna get all the dirt tonight on the Platform Sports Talk Show. But yeah, once again, 3 years strong, consistently every Wednesday. Now, every now and then, may do a Thursday like we did last week and like we're gonna do tomorrow.
Thursday night specials.
Make sure y'all give us a follow. All the information on the screen, so no excuses at all. Give us a follow. Share with your peoples right now. Let's discuss some sports, all the hot topics. Get them questions,
interact
comments.
with us. We interact with you.
Exactly. Get them all together. Let's go. Suzanne says, "Why? Thank you. You guys are awesome." No, you're awesome.
Wait to say that. Oh my gosh. You were just waiting for the opportunity to say that, weren't you? So silly, Fred.
So, continuing on, unfortunately, on a sad note, we had to give our condolences to Arizona, former Arizona men's basketball coach Lou Olson. 2 days ago, the great John Thompson. JT. I saw that. I was like,
that's why I said you think you get bad news. We got that on Friday about Chadwick Boseman, and then days later we get JT Coach Thompson. And that one speaks to my heart because I'm a Georgetown fan. I was bred a Georgetown fan. My father loved Georgetown, had us watching all their games in the 80s. And it's because of John Thompson and how he did it for the black players and the black community and how he represented it. So, still a big Georgetown fan now.
And what's crazy is how, a few months ago we had Jahadi White and how he talked about the coach.
Still a son. And then we got a VSAT alum, Kobe Clark. He's a recruit. He's a freshman now at Georgetown as well now.
Right. Shouts out to Miss Williams. She says hi, Fred. Make sure you show Bunny some love, Miss Williams. Show her some love in the club. But how you doing, Miss Williams? Thanks for tuning in once again. She is a valued, dedicated follower of the Platform Sports Talk Show.
Yes.
And to all those watching right now, thank you very much. Once again, get them shares going. Share. Let's interact.
Yes.
Also, going back to John Thompson. I think I told this to Jahadi, but he was the reason why I tuned in so much to Georgetown. First time you saw all black people.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking, is Georgetown like a HBCU? You know what I'm saying?
White as they can be, very prestigious school. I mean, it's just a notch below the regular Ivy League. So they're prestigious, law schools, phenomenal. So no. But he helped change that culture because, D.C. is known as Chocolate City for a lot of black people. But then you got all the federal government and the white areas and that exclusive. And John Thompson, we got black people here. I'm a black man. We gonna make this culture what it should be.
The man had the towel always over his shoulder.
That's his trademark. Yep.
Yes, and Suzanne, you are correct. Bunny is in all caps, great asset for the show. Yes, she is. Everyone, I'm telling you, people get at me like you're such a great addition because of your knowledge, your passion. You really know what's happening. You challenge our guests. You challenge Stan all the time, which I love. But it's just great to have you on, So I definitely appreciate you, man. Hopefully this be forever.
Thanks for being you.
Yeah, man. Like I said, John Thompson, he made college basketball. He made a whole college be cool.
And it looked from the college stars he had that became NBA stars, and how many people he sent to the NBA with their skills that they learned and taught from Coach Thompson. So that's impactful as well.
I mean, from Iverson to Mutombo to Morning to Ewing. I mean, the list goes on.
Wingate, you want to go there?
Yeah.
So, at the Othello Harrington. least 1 years in the league. I'm telling you, my daddy had us watching it, so I can name their roster.
It's crazy. And then also the man who was one of the beginners of, or the what you want to call it, led the way in regards to the headband, Clifford Robertson.
Oh yeah.
You know, him passing away.
Trailblazer.
I actually not meet him in person in regards to like one-on-one, but remember when the NBA used to come to St. Louis all the time doing
the exhibition games in October. Yeah.
So it was one year. It was 1 year that the Blazers came and played against the Washington at the time Bullets.
Yeah.
And that's when you had 7'7" George Mirasan. Remember him? And I saw Kevin Duckworth. Buck Williams, Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler.
Clyde the Glide.
Yeah. And like we had seats like right where the players were walking, you know, to the court. So you saw them like boom, it looking big as hell.
He's like, this is not TV for real, they big.
But so shouts out to well, not shouts out, but our condolences first off to Clifford Robinson. But he had a nice career. Did his thing. He never, I believe, won a championship. He was close.
Portland was always close, but just never.
Thanks to that guy from Chicago, number 23. I can't. Yeah. What's his name? You said MJ? Okay. But yeah. So that's it, man. Real quick, we had a little small discussion about what's going on, a little hot topic. We'll save the basketball talk for later. But football-wise, one day they having an issue. Possibly he may get traded. Now he gonna stay with the Saints more than likely. Alvin Kamara. Football season is going to be starting in 2 weeks.
But you know, it's kind of under the radar because there's no preseason.
Exactly.
And everybody's talking about the college, SEC and ACC are going. Big Ten now, they changed their tune. But it's all this college football talk, but it's like NFL is about to come on. But nobody's talking. I mean, they're talking but not talking, but like you said, in 2 weeks, we going to be talking all right.
It's like it's there, but it's like it doesn't feel like a real football season about to start because you haven't seen nothing.
And I know with the pandemic and coronavirus restrictions where if training camps aren't conducted the same, you can't have meeting and all those people out there tuning in, and especially, like I said, no preseason games.
Right.
But they said they're going to have some of the stadiums 20% capacity, so some fans will be allowed to go to these games. Yeah. That's the love to them. I don't know how you going to social distance, but hey, take that risk.
We shall see.
I like it. I love it.
As you brought up earlier, the Big Ten, they trying to find a way to play. And looks like, if it all goes well, St. Louis may be one of the homes of Big Ten games, right at the Dome. So,
okay.
We shall see.
St. Louis, act right so people don't be scared to go down Washington. I digress.
All right, y'all. It is that time. We're going to get right into it. This man here, head coach of the ladies basketball team at Pattonville High School. Man came in with the ride. I'm like, oh, yeah, he official.
Well, look, official?
He official.
Hey, you need 2 whistles. Blow the whistle. There we go.
Too short. Holla at us. But without any further ado, man, we're going to learn a whole lot about this man. And everyone, make sure y'all comment, show this man some love. Everybody give it up. Once again, Pattonville head coach, Mr. Don Boyce. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, you all? What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. Talk about basketball, talk about sports tonight. I've watched a few of you all shows.
Nice.
More than a few, and you all are doing a fantastic job, man.
Thank you.
Shout out to you all.
Thank you, man. You know, that's been my vision from day one, man, is we want to, provide something different, but meaningful, because you can have just your normal, just talk about whatever, in which actually is how we kind of started off, me and Sadal, just talking about different topics that was, on our minds, whatever, start, get the hot topics going on. But it just evolved into now we're getting guests every week.
That's what's up.
And it's a blessing.
That's what's up.
I give grace, I give thanks to the Lord, because without that, this wouldn't be going on, and it's expanding, it's getting bigger and better. So, and having great guests like we've had in the past. Last week, had an awesome time.
We did.
We had Coop on last Thursday, and then we had Coach Lee. On last Wednesday. So it's crazy, and I love it. And like I said, it's why it's called the platform Sports Touch Up, because we want to give people the the platform to speak their mind, interact with us, and for our guests as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming out during this time.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So how has things been for you during this pandemic?
Man, this pandemic.
That's it a lot just with that.
It's day 2020.
2020 has been rough, man. Haven't really had a chance to get in the gym like with my high school kids as of yet. I did spend some time this summer with the summer organization that I was coaching with, Bradley Bill Elite. So that we got to play, I think, in 3 tournaments. So that gave the kids an opportunity to get some exposure. I believe more than a handful of kids received scholarship offers. So that made it all worth it, going out on the road up into Indianapolis. So, but this pandemic has just been tough. I really feel bad for the kids. I think as adults, we can kind of adjust to, our environment. But the kids, I feel like socially they're missing out, and I think sometimes we forget as adults how important that social piece is for the kids to interact with their peers and do some other things. So hopefully we can get past this by November or so and maybe see some type of normalcy and get back to where we were.
Normalcy, but we got to put a quotation mark.
Yeah,
like
we
normalcy.
definitely
Do we know what that is anymore?
Right. It's actually just new normal. That's what's going to be the thing now, but yeah.
Man, it's crazy. So before we talk about your team per se, was your season cut short due to the virus, or was it already over?
Our season was already over at the time.
Okay.
We actually made it to the district championship. We played against Parkway Central. Pattonville girls basketball hadn't played for a district championship. Last year was my first year. We hadn't played for a district championship in, I believe, 25 years or so.
Wow.
We lost to a very, very good Parkway Central team. So much respect to them and whatnot. I had a lot of freshmen, like 3 freshmen playing up, 4 sophomores and 2 juniors. So
You got to take them to district? Wow.
yeah, so kudos to them. They worked hard, they played hard, they believed, and they gave it all they got. We just ran into a very senior-heavy Parkway Central team that was very, very good.
And that's something that it should build.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had the discussion with Miss Mick Woods, even with Anthony Booker, Coach Lee. Like, going through adversity is good because now
Absolutely.
It makes you want to be better.
And hungrier.
You learn from your experience, makes you get hungrier, get ready for next season. Like, what, Coach, let's go.
We all in. Okay.
Like, Coach, where are you at? We ready. Where are you at?
It's the adversity part is the truth. Even as a coach, first year coach last year, I switched over to the girls side of basketball, but I learned a lot. And you got to pay your dues, and I'm willing to pay my dues. Our ultimate goal out at Pattonville is one day to win a championship, a state championship. So, and I think we'll get there eventually. I think we'll get there.
I'm going to see if Bunny catches on to this. But the first question that we normally ask our guests is what?
What is the first sport that you fell in love with?
Not first sport, but when did you?
Oh, when did you?
There you go.
I'm close.
There you
I'm
go.
getting there. So, yes.
When did I fall in love with my first sport? I guess it's a 2-part question in a sense. My first sport was baseball. I was a baseball fanatic. My mom moved us to Springfield, Missouri. Friend of mine, Kenny Price, he played for Glendale High School in Springfield, Missouri, which was a powerhouse back in the day for basketball. And I would always, like, man, hey, where you going? He's like, man, I got basketball practice. And I'm like, basketball, man, let's go play baseball. And so one day he was like, man, why don't you come and try? We were in 4th grade at the time. I was in 4th grade. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And I went, and Kenny, and I was awful. And Kenny,
being honest,
I was like, thank you for your honesty.
I was awful at the time, but he had an older brother that was an All-American. So, and Kenny ended up being an All-American too, as well. So being around them, like just watching their passion for basketball or whatnot, and I slowly started to drift away from baseball. And I was like, man, I really like this basketball thing. So I would go up to the court, like to the schoolyard or whatnot, by myself, shooting. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was raised by a single mom, so I didn't have a dad. So I basically taught myself how to shoot and like watching games and stuff like that. And Kenny and his older brother, they would show me a couple of things, but they really enjoyed embarrassing me and making me look bad. So one thing about me is I'm like super competitive, like super competitive. Like I don't let my kids win anything because my mom didn't let me win in anything either. So
earn it.
No mercy, huh?
Yeah, no mercy, no mercy. So I could appreciate that, from back then or whatever. So every single day, I would get up while we lived there, and I would walk up to the school and shoot, and dribble, and try to teach myself how to play. So around 4th grade, that's when I fell in love with basketball.
So
for sure.
You brought up baseball, and it's pretty amazing because Council Martin said he started out playing baseball. He was a back catcher. So what position did you play in baseball?
Short, third.
Okay.
I played shortstop, third base, and I could pitch a little bit too.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets. One of my biggest regrets. Man.
Anytime you say you a pitcher, hey, that could be instant money coming to your account.
I'm telling you, high demand position for a reason.
Absolutely. But yeah, baseball. I really enjoyed playing the sport of baseball. But it was one of those things that I really think that I wish more of our kids in our community would go back to playing baseball.
Yes.
We talked about that before too.
Yeah.
How they market this.
Yes.
They need to market.
Well, and I also think that the pricing.
Talk about that too. With those little young clubs and the traveling teams. Yeah. Baseball is one of the most expensive besides hockey. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, baseball is very, very expensive.
Yes.
And it makes you wonder why. Why is it so expensive? Because a lot of our kids in our community have great hand-eye coordination, and that's baseball all day. So I really encourage parents, if anybody's listening, put your kid back in baseball for real. Like that's don't limit their opportunities.
Yeah.
So
that's how it was when I was young. I played baseball, I played football, I played basketball. I was doing as much as I could.
Multi-athletic guy over here,
yeah.
but it was normal back then, all right.
It was very
everybody do
normal.
multiple sports from when you're younger as you're growing up. I'm just saying those days kind of seem like they're not far gone, but it's just not often that you hear people doing multiple sports, especially when they're little league age. So
yeah, nowadays everybody's kind of, to me, forcing the kids to kind of focus in on one sport,
right?
Because it's year round.
But your muscles, you need to
I agree.
different things, not just that one sport.
I agree.
I'm not an athlete like that anymore, so what do I know?
I'm not either. So trust me, I understand, but it really does. I think athletes back then, we played baseball, football, basketball,
right?
So I think that does help develop all of your muscles. Because kids don't go outside and play anymore. You don't really see a lot of kids just outside running around, racing.
I don't even think they know how to play outside these days. Like they got to Google, how do you play outside? What is tag?
That's a good point.
Jump rope. What is that?
Right. Hide and go seek. Wait, what? Where are you hiding from?
Right.
Oh, Mom, Dad, that's so back in 2000. I mean, back in '98.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Exactly.
We had to get off that off the phone and
off them tablets, off the couch.
and PS3s and 5s and 8s.
Get outside that fresh air. Look, because the rule was if you go outside, you're going to play outside. But you come in, you got to stay in. So we was outside, okay?
Yeah.
We not
and then stayed outside until the lights came on.
Right.
Okay, you know what? It's time to get inside. Because when I was outside, I would stay there and we'd be playing. We played basketball at my old partner Anthony's house. He had a hoop in the backyard. We played baseball in the front. I mean, we just had football. We did all that, man. It was just good nature fun.
Yeah.
And nowadays, and outside of the kids not going outside, but also with what's going on so much in the world, in our streets.
Oh, yeah.
Parents are scared to have our kids go outside nowadays just to have a good time because you may not see your kid again. So it's so many different factors going on with why kids are not going outside to why the parents may not want them to go outside because you just don't know nowadays.
Absolutely. That's true. That's so true.
Once again, this is Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth along with
Bunny.
And we have special guests.
Coach Boyce.
There it
Don
is.
Boyce.
For those watching for the first time, if you're on Facebook, if you are watching currently under Don Boyce's page and you are commenting, we cannot see it. Please make sure that you go to our page on the Platform Sports Talk Show. You see it on your screen. Go under our page and then comment so we can interact and get all them comments, questions, great stories, embarrassing stories, whatever you want to talk about. Let's go ahead and make it happen over these next few hours. So you brought up baseball earlier, and once again, what about this, your overall love of sports?
I'm a sports fanatic.
Okay.
Sports fanatic. I would say if I had to rank, it would be basketball, boxing, baseball, then football. And baseball kind of, I don't know. Football, I'm upset with the NFL.
Sound like me. And I was saying that ever since the Kaepernick stuff happened.
Yeah. That's for me. I just didn't like how the NFL handled the situation with Kaepernick. Kaepernick's my frat brother. I'm a Kappa. He's a Kappa, so I fully support him. But yeah, so basketball, boxing, and baseball for me.
Nice. Did you partake in any boxing, or you just like the sport?
A little bit. I actually like when Coach Frazier, Corey Frazier, he has some of his athletes when they come in town getting ready for the NBA draft. A lot of times I'll do boxing training with them, just putting them through some boxing workouts and things like that. I have several friends and family members that hit me up like, hey, let me get a boxing workout in, and they get addicted. And so I do that on the side. It's not something that I offer to everyone, but
you got to be special.
Well, not necessarily
elite.
Special. Just my time. Just my time. I don't have time to dedicate to that like I have in the past at certain times. So
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Shouts out to Anton Macklin. He says one of the best coaches in the business.
Yeah, okay. Get the man his roses while he's alive. Hey.
I appreciate that time.
Now see, I already know this man is a competitor, so he want that to change to the best, not one of them.
Okay.
He's super competitive, so it has to be the best coach in the business. So we'll see, cause we'll bring him back again. And
that's cool.
Right.
Anton gonna say the best coach, and he gonna say damn right.
Right. He said, especially if he got some championships under his belt. Okay.
We're gonna try.
Show you right. No promises. Show you right. Say Pat Bill's gonna know my name.
Right.
Absolutely.
Anton says that's an understatement. There you go.
Okay.
There you go,
and
man.
again, Deontay, we ain't forget about you because I
Oh
can't
yeah. Deontay, we got you. We got you.
So what did Deontay
He
say?
says
The
best team that you have coached.
Deontay, the team that you were on, man, it was the best team I ever coached. There you go. I love you guys, man. That was a special moment for me back in 2000. I think it was 2012. I was the head coach at North Tech High School. I had a lot of things going on in my life, and I was presented an opportunity to coach those young men over at North Tech. And so, coming in, new head coach, teenage boys, getting them to buy in and their attention and all of that or whatever. They played extremely hard, very competitive. I think the following year we won 20 plus games out there at North Tech and really number one seed in district. Papa John's team of the week 2 times. So I think we won like 4 or 5 tournaments in that span too. So as well. So. Very, very special team, very talented group of young men, and I definitely enjoy coaching them. And Deontay was one of those kids that I'll never forget. He would come up the street knocking on my door, and I'm like, it's at my door. And it'd be Deontay, like, what's up, coach?
So when you heard the knock, were you like doing the whole Malcolm X thing?
Not at that point.
Who am I
Not at that point, man. Not at that point.
Okay.
Not at that point. Now, stuff is different now. Right.
Just leave the package at the door. Leave it at the door.
Yeah. Now it would be totally different. Like, announce yourself. Please don't just show up.
Anton says I'm biased. He gets my vote. I wonder if Deontay cash apped you something so you could say the best time.
No, he didn't. He didn't. I had so much fun with that group. Because it was North Tech and nobody seen that coming at that time. Nobody seen, North Tech is a technical school. A technical high school where kids learn a trade and also they earn a high school diploma, which I think is great. Some kids, to me, aren't, college isn't for everyone in a sense, but getting a trade, giving them an option, I love it. But no, Deontay and the rest of that group, I mean, they're my Facebook friends, and just watching them grow up, it's pretty cool. So
yeah, and there's something we talked about also, how you see so many people that you grew up with now doing big things, not just and seeing your people that you, like you said, you used to get in trouble with.
Right.
But now y'all out here getting it.
Being astounding citizens.
Right.
On top of that, coaches and trainers.
Being good Samaritans and everything.
Right.
James, I'm going to wait till later on, and then I'll ask that question to Don. So, going into playing basketball, before you got to high school or going into high school, who were some of your influences? The one who pushed you along the way, always were there for you when you needed a hand?
First off, I followed Magic Johnson. That's my all-time favorite basketball player.
Okay.
I wanted to be just like Magic Johnson on the basketball floor, the ultimate point guard. He was great. Growing up, I had a coach, Aaron Alexander, down out of Matthew Dickey. We were
Matthew Dickey.
Right. I'm a Dickey kid, so
you're a bulldog.
Yeah, I'm a bulldog. Aaron, we had a team, the Running Rebels. That kind of introduced me to, I guess, AAU basketball at the time. Aaron was a referee, and he actually seen me playing out in a basketball game, and whatnot, recruited me to come play with his team, the Running Rebels, and whatnot. He put together a solid team. He was a huge influence for me because that was probably my first time having a brother as a coach, and really coaching me and mentoring me, and and like really addressing certain things about me. Again, I was raised by a single mom, so there were certain things that that men, I feel like men can only teach other young men.
Right.
And so his influence was huge to me back then. I remember a lot of times, a lot of games where he would get on me, just mentally it helped prepare me. Just one of those things, mentally it helped prepare me.
And you brought up once again how you're so super competitive. Where did that come from?
The competitiveness definitely probably comes from my mom. Again, like we would play like different board games when I was a kid, and she would, I'm not letting you win. So, and I would cry. I would get mad and cry. I would have like just an attitude about it and everything. And she would just look at me like, get better. Like, I'm not going to let you win. So it's either get better, get tougher, get better. My mom's a former Marine, so things were a little bit different for me. Things were a little bit different for me.
Yeah.
So I never really got a chance to like just enjoy, like everything was about winning. Like she's like, if you're going to be successful in life, you got to be a leader first off, and then secondly, you got to win. Like, and nobody wants anybody that's a loser. So,
yeah.
I
think James already answered my question, but I'm going to still ask you anyway. What high school did you go to?
I went to Pattonville.
I think
went to
that's
Pattonville.
a given there.
I went to Pattonville. Pattonville High School.
What led you to go to Pattonville?
My mom moved out. I grew up in like Car Square Village, downtown. All right, so my mom moved out to North County, Bridgeton. At the time, we moved into it was a Holiday Inn off Lindbergh, and we moved.
Oh yeah.
And we moved into that hotel while she looked for an apartment.
Gotcha.
So while she was looking for an apartment, we stayed there. I don't know how many months that we were there. I attended home and middle school, which was in Pattonville School District. So basically from 6th grade to 12th grade, I was in Pattonville School District. Eventually, my mom found an apartment in the district, and we moved over into, I think it was Cricklewood duplexes at the time. And the airport expansion, they tore all that out. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, so we moved over there, and I was in Pattonville District from 6th grade to 12th grade, and that was a wild adventure. Coming from
Car Square in the city.
I was just gonna ask you.
How was the culture?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, culture
just explain how it was going from inner city to going out to Bridgeton area.
Inner city to Bridgeton. For me, it was such a culture shock at the time, because here I am around nothing but black, black people every day, all day. I'm in probably, to me, one of the roughest neighborhoods of all time. They can say North Side this and that. Car Square Village, if you know anybody that's my age or older, ask them, and they'll tell you. So coming out to Pattonville, it was a culture shock, man. It was like a huge culture shock, but like learning to like go to school with other races and things like that or whatnot. Because Pattonville it just wasn't about white and black. That was it was multicultural. Like it was it was very diverse. So that was a huge lesson. So like my first month or two, I think I was just like in shock. I'm like, what the? Like, some of the kids rolling up their pants tight around their ankles, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, so so I'm like, you got to iron and put a crease in your jeans, and they look at me like, why you got that line in your jeans? Right. And I'm like, don't cut me, don't cut me.
That's how we stay fresh. Starch stuff.
There it is. I'm heavy starch. I'm heavy starch, man.
That's how I was too, man.
I was heavy starch.
Stay crispy.
Yeah, you had to be crispy, man. And so that was just that adjustment alone right there. It was just, but I thank God for that. I thank God for my mom to make that move, because nothing else like that move prepared me for life by experiencing that. Because life is not just all about just being black or just being over here, just being white. You have to learn how to network, how to talk, how to work along with, different races, different cultures and things like that. So that was the beginning of a huge learning experience for me, and I'm thankful for that. So.
I think about you watched the episode of The Chi?
I've only seen season 1.
So for those, one of the main characters, Kevin, he went to a pretty much all black in the hood school in The Chi, but because he was so gifted, they wanted him to go to a different school in which it was more diversity.
Yep. Yep.
So for you just saying that, it's so important, and this came to my mind, like there need to be something going on with these city schools, city public schools or wherever, because so many black kids are only used to seeing each other. Needs to be more programs to really get them to know how to be around different cultures, because you know what I'm saying?
Sports help do it sometimes.
A little bit, because it's a game.
But then this is when we going to digress a little bit with funding because music does that too. And you know, one of the first things they take out of school district and school budgets is music,
Yes.
arts and music.
That's,
and music is
absolutely.
another.
That's Hazelwood.
Yes. So that music is another way of doing that. But as far as making people be diverse, parental involvement to find programs for their kids to do as well. And again, we know coming from inner city, sometimes they always say resources, which is nothing but money. If a parent doesn't have the money, we just need people or whatever not-for-profits to step up and just tell the parent this is not going to cost you, but enroll and get your kids signed up. Because they have coding classes, they have, like I said, music, dance. I mean, so many different things out there. We're talking about for kids as young as 5, but the exposure is needed. But how or where do they go? And sometimes people don't know. It puts in a bubble. But St. Louis is already segregated. South St. Louis is diverse, believe it or not, though.
It is.
Yeah.
The school is, but if you're talking about getting bigger, like going from city to Pattonville, or if you want to go further to even St. Charles County, it's just that we got to find a program to get people to these, expose these kids, besides sports and music, just things like that. So.
And the biggest thing for me is like these students who are going to these games, like an NOA game, they shouldn't be worried or scared because of where they're going.
Right.
True.
Because of area. They should be scared of who they playing. Oh, yeah, I'm about to play Pattonville. And I know Coach Boyce team about to bring it. That should be the time, they should be intimidated. But it shouldn't be because, I'm going to Bashan right in the hood, because that could actually throw your game off because you
mentally you already not focused.
Other things outside the game.
Focused.
So, it just.
But that helps also when coaches do, before you play your conference schedules, when you do have these tournaments or other away games where you're going outside of your norm to go and teach and show your kids, expose them to places outside of St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Charles County. Take them to the Boot Hill. Take them out to Kansas City or Independence, to mid-Missouri and Jeff City and Columbia. Expose it. There's a lot of, without sports, you would be surprised how many people do not know how to live or function outside of their little 5-mile radius of school in their house.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And it's good that you brought that up because one of the things that for like future plans, I do want to expose our program into different environments and to different competitive environments because it does help you prepare for when, getting ready for districts and things like that. But it also gives you that experience it's nothing like sports for me, the memories, more than anything, like just, that camaraderie and, just being a part of the team and things like that. But the memories, you never forget those memories.
Right.
You never forget those memories. So.
Gotcha. And speaking of memories, what kind of memories do you have from high school? What sports did you play in high school?
I played my freshman, sophomore year football. I was really good at football. I chose to. I stopped playing baseball before I got to high school.
He said he wasn't good. He knew he wasn't good. So we thank him for his honesty. He knew early on. This is not my call.
No, I was good at baseball.
What was you say you weren't good?
I wasn't good at basketball at first.
Basketball.
Yeah, I wasn't good at basketball at first. Yeah, I was learning. I was learning. I was in that learning stage.
I did right.
And so then I focused in on basketball. I just, it was basketball, everything basketball. So, what was the question? One of my best memories, I think, or
favorite sports that you played in high school?
Basketball. Okay. Yeah, basketball for sure.
So going into basketball now, how was Pattonville at that time? Were they just okay school? Or were they afterthought? Were they on the on the rise?
Right. So at the time when I got to high school, there was a legend walking around the building by the name of Corey Tate. And so C. Tate was up there at high school, and so I came up to high school, and I was pretty confident and arrogant about myself, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get up to high school.
This ain't nothing.
So they made an announcement, open gym after school today at 2:30. So I remember, I'm like, because I kept my stuff with my basketball. Like real hoopers always got their gear with them. So I had my gear. I'm like, oh. So I called my mom. I'm like, hey, I'm staying after school. It's on. So I stayed after school and played. It's my freshman year. I played, and then Mr. Tate came walking in the gym, and I'm like, that's Corey Tate. Like, he was a big dude. Like back then, I was like 150 pounds or whatever at the time or whatever. So Corey walked in the gym and like picked up a ball, walked out there and just did a 360 dunk, and I was like,
welcome to high school.
So yeah, I was like,
maybe he is all the hype he's
like, yeah, I'm like, okay, this might not be what I think. Be exactly what I think. But Corey Tate was like I said, he's one of the best basketball players to ever come through Missouri, in my eyes. Definitely one of the best to ever come through Pattonville. So shout out to C. Tate, coaching down at St.LOUIS U.
Right.
And then with and just being a freshman and playing against the upperclassmen, it was different because they were older, they were stronger, they were smarter. So it was a slice of humble pie, but I held my own.
Yeah.
I held my own though, but it was a slice of humble pie at the moment.
Was there a moment? I know you said, you saw Corey Tate doing his thing. Was there a moment where you felt intimidated as you started off playing basketball?
I was very confident. I was a confident kid, so I can't really say I was ever intimidated. And I always wanted to see where I was at, so I would want to play against whomever they said was the top level talent or kid or whatever. So I can't really say that. The only time that I ever felt some type of way was against Riverview. I think it was like my freshman or sophomore year when they had like Eric Simmons and Leon Clay. Like they won the state championship that year. I think it was like 91 or 92.
Okay.
And seeing that press up close and personal, I was like, whew. Like, it's real. These boys real. These boys real. I remember they ended up, they played Raytown South that year, their senior year, and they came back by like 22 points or 25 points. Might be a state record in the fourth quarter. So those guys were really, really good. So I had a lot of respect for them and learned a lot from just that one experience on the floor with them. So, yeah.
What was the furthest that y'all have gotten to in regards to all 4 years of high school playing ball?
My senior year, we went to the district championship. We were up by 13 against Parkway Central. As a kid, Walter Moore, 6'7", 6'8" kid, went to end up going to Iowa State. And we were small. We were small when I was in high school. Our center was maybe about 6'3", 6'4".
Wow.
At the time. And Big Walter just took over, man. Took over.
He was doing like Shaquille and
he just started dominating, and so we made it to the district championship and lost my senior year. So
nice. So overall, you would say your experience at Pattonville was
my education-wise excellent. Athletics. I wish it could have been a little bit better. There was my senior year, a good friend of mine, Tony Luss, my teammate, he tore his MCL or ACL our senior year. He was like our second, third leading scorer on the team at the time. So that was a big loss. If we have him, even though we were small, we beat Parkway. Yeah, we beat Parkway.
So I take it Parkway Central was y'all biggest rival?
Hazelwood East.
Hazelwood East.
Oh.
Hey, his face.
Uh-oh.
You see his face?
Okay. Still got some little wounds about that, huh? You little still.
Yeah, it was just, it was something about Hazelwood East. Like my senior year, we had a hit list.
Ooh.
So we had all the Hazelwoods. We had the McClures. Any school that we felt like looked at us like, oh, that's just an all-white school. Mm-hmm. We had something to prove.
Okay.
We had something to prove.
And, I think we said this to, I can't recall which guest it was, but it's just different when you are at a certain school and you go out to, like you said, like I brought up the V, or we go out to De Smet or, St. Charles, whatever. We want... People don't think
they don't respect.
You know what I'm saying? Because of where we came from.
Right.
Oh, well, and they came from the inner city, so
like they dumb and don't know anything. Yeah.
Like, but see, for us it was different because it was it's that male the alpha male thing about us, where it's like, oh, you think because I go to this school that I forgot where I came from, or I ain't got that hood in me, or whatever the case may be. So anytime we played a black school, you about to get it. Riverview, my senior year, we beat them by 25. Jennings by 25. Hazelwood Central, 45. Hazelwood East, they got us. But everybody else, we had a hit list.
Y'all got that message to them loud and clear,
huh?
loud
and clear. Like,
don't let the school name fool you.
Don't let the school name fool you. It's not that. It's not that. And you know, my teammates would probably say that I probably brought a lot of that attitude about that.
Nice.
To the locker room, that type of leadership, because I just wasn't going for it. Wasn't going for it.
So just to take off the interview just a little bit, a couple of notes I have here, updates or breaking news. Mets legend Tom Seaver dies at 75 years old from complications of Lewy body dementia and COVID-19.
Oh?
Yes.
Wow.
Also, The Rock announced that he and his family tested positive for COVID as well, but they are no longer contagious. So, people, it doesn't matter. recall initially when,
mask up.
you know, when they talked about COVID, how you heard, oh, well, black people don't get it.
And then only old people get it.
Right. It doesn't have a face, a race.
Look, that was January to September. We see.
Right.
There's a big difference, okay?
Yeah, so
that's so true.
Whole lot going on,
crazy.
man. But once again, this is the Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth along with
Bunny
and special guest
Don Boyce.
There it is. Another coach in the getaway, man. So going on from high school, what college did you attend?
Okay. So coming out of high school, originally I was going to go to Southeast Missouri State.
SEMO?
Yeah, I was going to go down to SEMO, red shirt, and play down there. But some things happened, and ended up staying in St. Louis, and I went to Harris Stowe, and I played at Harris Stowe.
Yeah, I was at Harris Stowe for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. How was that experience? We know that Harris Stowe isn't like SLOUIS.
Right.
Your experience is playing for that team during that time.
At that time, again, I was pretty arrogant at that time, but going down to Harris Stowe, the Harris Stowe that we see today was not the Harris Stowe back then.
No. They got like a campus now. Campus.
I mean, shout out to Harris Stowe, like what they've done with that campus down there. That's wonderful. But when I walked through that door, coming from Pattonville to Harris Stowe, it was the reverse effect, because I was like,
exactly.
What is this?
Hey, I feel you. I was the same way. I'm like, I love high school for high school.
Look at the structure. It really was a high school.
Yeah.
So.
It had lockers in it and everything.
It was
I'm
high
like,
school. HBCU love, but it was different.
It was
back
different.
then.
It was different. I was like, I was just like, man, what is this? And it was so funny because I remember coming in, I was on a full ride scholarship for basketball and things like that or whatever. So there was an article in the paper. I was going to go, what school was I going to go to locally, because I had made the decision I didn't want to leave St. Louis. And so I won't say the other school that I was going to attend locally or whatever, because I just don't want to get into that part. But so I was like, man, I'll go to Harris Stowe. I changed my mind at the last minute. I was registered at this other school, but then the coach from Harris Stowe called me, took me out to lunch, talked to my mom and stuff, and so I was like, okay, I'll go to Harris Stowe. And I just remember, just coming in, like I said, it was just like, what is this? It was just a total culture shock, the opposite though. You know what I'm saying? It was like the complete opposite. And I remember the coach, I would always get in trouble because he's like, you been over, coach, you think you too smart, and just little stuff like that or whatever. So I would kind of laugh that off or whatever, but it was completely different. Yeah. Completely different, man.
Yeah, because my first day there at Harris Stowe, I went to the gym, I'm like, where's the rest of it?
Right. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. I was like,
They said this is what y'all get. Work with this one gym.
Couldn't have no home games there at all.
Nope.
I mean, now I've seen the newer gym. They evolved, but
yeah, they've evolved.
Back then, it was looking like a typical struggling HBCU. So I give it to them that they've progressed.
Yeah, they've progressed a lot. Yeah, I remember our first road game, and coach was like, you know, everybody started lining up. I'm like, what are y'all doing? It's like, we got to get our meal money for, you know. But so we in a line getting our meal money for after the game or whatever. And it was like, he gave us like $8. And I'm like,
what am I supposed to do with this?
$8, man. Like, only thing we can get is McDonald's.
No, that's what we're supposed to do with $8.
I'm about to say a Happy Meal. That was it.
And you can't even get full off a Happy Meal. Athletes?
Yeah. Man. Yeah, like $8 and you got to know, like, back then, like, even though you were athlete, you couldn't work. You know, you got a full load of courses, and then, of course, then you got basketball practice every day and things like that. So it was, man, it was some trying times, man.
Trying and some lean time.
Absolutely. Some broke times. Some real broke times.
Harry Stone broke college.
The struggle was real, man.
I'm sorry y'all went through that. Like I said, I know we all got our story about HBCUs, but that's a different one.
Yeah, man, that was like, I look at some of these guys, some of these kids, period, and like Harris Stowe's come a long way. Like it's truly an option, a pretty good option in my opinion for kids, you know, to continue their education, especially if they, you know, if you want to play sports and things like that. So. You know, they got dorms and stuff now.
That's what I said. They're actually looking like a campus, and I said they progressing. Trying to catch how
we was still down there when it was almost Laclede Town. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Laclede Town right there. So it was like, yeah, it was a little different.
So how did it go playing ball?
Pretty good, man. I actually played 3 years down in Harris. We had. It gave me a newfound respect about basketball in general, though, just because there's a lot of people that can play this game. You know, a lot of times people get caught up in Division I, Division II, or whatever the case may be, whatever level. What I learned from my experience down there, there's a lot of people that can play this game and don't take any opportunity for granted. You know, so there's, I don't know how many, I forgot the percentages or whatever, but to be a scholarship athlete at a college or university, there's a lot of people that don't get that opportunity. You know, because there's a lot of kids that play. You got to think it's 12 to 15 kids on every high school basketball team for the most part, and maybe only 2, if that, you know, 1 or 2 get an athletic scholarship for basketball. So, so that was, you know, it was, when I look back on certain things, it's humbling, but it's also a lot of life lessons I learned. And we had a lot of talent, you know, because Harris Stowe was one of those places that when things didn't work out, other people, like guys, they come back home.
Be a fallback plan.
A fallback plan. So, you know, there was a lot of, I had a lot of really good teammates that could really play ball. So, like, we were very, very competitive. The only thing that I wish that we had back then was the like a real weight training type program.
Right, because that weight room wasn't
again looking like
wasn't bigger than this room.
Look, and it's probably looking like not even a high school or middle school size. Probably.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't like what he said. It was like, man, it probably was the weight room was probably the size of this room that we're in right now. And you talking, you know, we talking about going out and competing against, you know, some real. Like, you go through the state of Kentucky, no matter what college, university that you're playing against, you in for a game.
Right.
You in for a game, and they got facilities. And, you know, I remember we played a team, Georgetown, Kentucky, and our bus.
I was out there. Our
bus was late one time, and they shut down the town. Like, they literally shut down the town. They had, like, a parade and all this stuff or whatever. And I'm like, man, they shut down the town? Like, I'm like, all these little kids and families and stuff, and it was like, you know, it was just, it was an experience. It was definitely an experience. So,
yeah, I recall some of them away games. You go to certain colleges, you be looking up all around like, man, they got this big old scoreboard. Seats all the way up to heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was that deal, you know.
Yeah.
But,
no doubt.
Yeah,
no
so
doubt.
shouts out to Harris Stowe State College. So now I know that Harris Stowe is notoriously known for being like a teacher's college. What made you get into coaching?
Coaching. A friend of my Harris Stowe teammate, Nate, he's the mayor of Wellston. We always give him a hard time. Nate called me. He's like, hey, Don, why don't you, come on over and help me? And I was like, I don't know. Because the coaching thing for me, I had my reservations because I really didn't want to deal. There's a parent piece with coaching that I didn't really want to deal with that part. But like, if it was like just working with the kids, teaching the kids, I had no problem with that. But that parent piece always kind of deterred me from like really jumping all the way in. So he called me or whatever, and we talked more than a few times. And he was like, man, I got this guard that I really want you to work with because he had like your body type, and like, I feel like you could really show him some things, like things that you used to do back in the day or whatever. So, I was like, all right, I'm going to come on up or whatever. It's a good friend of mine. And I went up there, like basically volunteer. But then after that, I was like, man, I'll do it, And so once I got in, it was like, oh yeah, this feels right. Like, this feels like this is one of the things that I should be doing, like something spiritual in a sense. Like, it was like, man, I feel like this is something I need to be doing.
And you brought up earlier the thought of the parenting aspect. So it was pretty much at that time you didn't see yourself as like a father figure, not to just one person, but to a team of people. A mentor, a father, a coach. When you wear that coaching hat, it's a lot of responsibilities, man. A lot of responsibility, because it's not even about the sport anymore. It's about, you care about that person, you care about those kids. You want to make sure that those kids are like headed in the right direction in life, that they are eating every night, they're getting their proper rest. You just care about them, as young people, like you really, they become a part of you. Right.
So once you get involved with it, it's not easy to detach from that.
So. Life impacted. But I always say coaches are teachers.
Yep.
I mean, it's on paper, some people do, but a lot of people don't give enough credit. And like you said, as far as their life, eating and sleeping, grades, and overall, what they do in their personal life and with their family life affects physically and mentally how they play as well and perform.
Absolutely.
So it all goes a lot of responsibilities with that coaching hat. So if you initially didn't want to take it on, but it's just one of the things that go with the territory. But I know for people who say they didn't expect that either, but once they do it, they embrace it, they love it, and they don't regret it at all. So
once you get in, like I said, it's hard to detach yourself from that. I agree.
Has there been a moment, or can you recall that moment? Could have been one of your first couple of games, whatever, that you was like, this validates my reason that I wanted to be a coach.
Yes, it was. I'll never forget. I was sitting at home. I had a kid that was extremely quiet around their teammates. Just a really quiet kid, great kid. And I was sitting at home. I think I was watching the game from which we had just played or whatnot. Like and we lost. And so I'm like, it takes me like a couple of hours to kind of cool down. But so I'm watching this game and I get a text message. And this text message, it was, a couple of paragraphs from this kid. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading this text message or whatever. And then I had that moment as a new coach, like it touched me. Like, because what this kid, the things that this young man was saying in that message, I didn't care about wins and losses like I did before, because it was what that kid had said to me that really touched me, as far as like, just being a role model, a father that, like that's my story. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm from. You know, so that's another reason that I did get into coaching, because my father was killed when I was 3 years old. So, you know, to read that message, that hit a certain spot in me, and it validated what I was doing and why I was doing it, and it just from that day on, I still had that message in my phone, and it's like sometimes I might even go back and read that just to remember why you do what you do. You know, so that's I'll never forget that young man. Ever.
So as a coach, evaluating talent, looking at scouting reports, like you said earlier, reviewing old tapes, what helped you get to that point of knowing how to properly evaluate and to what you're looking for when you're looking at tapes, and how to set up plays and etc.
Being that, like, from my playing experience and my personality, I'm a very detailed person, and I'm very analytical. So for me, coaching becomes like the small things, like really trying to focus in on the small things, the small details, things that, thinking one or two plays ahead, and then trying to take what I know and to communicate it to the kids and to get them to understand.
And you brought up earlier North Tech. Was that your first coaching gig, or did you go somewhere else?
No, that was my first.
Okay.
That was my first coaching gig.
So you had North Tech and then
Pattonville.
Nice. Okay.
Pattonville. I had a layoff in a sense where I went and worked at like General Motors for like 4 or 5 years. I was a manager out of GM. They made an offer at the time I couldn't refuse. So
Must be
money talk. I was like, money talk real fast.
But then again, it comes back to, your own personal happiness and like what we only get so much time here on earth, so how you want to spend your time.
Yeah.
And, now I care more about my legacy and the people that I impact and affect.
And shouts out to my boy Sadal, the selector, the original on the show. Just me and him at the get-go. He said this a while back. He said you have a start date, you have an end date. It's all about what you do between that dash.
Absolutely.
So that's crucial. So definitely live your life, man, to the fullest. Once again, this is the platform Sports Talk Show, your Wednesday night sports, like having a good time, enjoying this conversation with the coach.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in. For those watching for the first time, if y'all are watching on Facebook land and you are under Coach Boyce's page and you are commenting and leaving all kind of questions and etc. and laughing and whatever else,
we not seeing it.
We can't see it on here.
We can't see it. You have to go under our page. You see it on the screen. So then you can go ahead and laugh and leave emojis and all that good stuff. If you are one of his players, former players,
a
friends,
parent of
family,
a player.
you have an interesting story, let us know. Go ahead and leave that comment so we can go ahead and interact with each and every one of y'all. So we got the game on right now. Milwaukee is down against the Heat. We're less than about maybe 3 minutes left to go in the game.
No
So
surprise
could be a 2-0 lead by Miami.
If it happens, I do not see Milwaukee doing that comeback. How
Nope.
the Nuggets, how the Nuggets did to the Jazz. I'm sorry.
No.
And then at this point, I'm sorry, we getting off. I know from a few years ago when Jason Kidd got fired with the Bucks, I'm like,
There's a problem,
it wasn't Jason Kidd. And I was like, the organization, y'all got Giannis, he's doing it. Somebody is not clicking this and make them go on all send to get over this hump.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not a player. What do I know?
Yeah, we're gonna save the NBA talk for later on. I just want to go ahead and bring that up. Yeah, right now it's 110 to 102 Miami with 3 minutes and 9 seconds left to go in the game.
Yep.
So we say hi, Shawnee. Okay, it's
Best
she,
lawyer out there in Missouri. Yes,
okay.
Shonda Connor.
You're a lawyer, huh? Okay, I'm about to holler at you, Miss Connor. All right, so coaching influences.
Yes.
Anyone in particular who you follow, who you study, that you pretty much brought your coaching style into play?
I'm a huge fan of Tom Izzo at Michigan State.
Yeah.
I really like watching Tom Izzo. Like he's to me, he's like a genius. Like he, you know, the timeout, he can draw up something like a play, like in a blink, and it like, man, he drew that up just that quick, and it works, you know. So I really follow Coach Izzo. Locally, I've always admired Coach Irons, Floyd. Tony is outstanding too, but Floyd Irons, man, the way that his teams were so disciplined.
Yeah. I know. I played for.
Oh, okay.
I know.
All right. So
Product of Coach Irons, right here.
Yeah. So he was so like disciplined. Like it was almost, if I had to compare it, it would be like watching, like, and it's a crazy comparison, like watching Duke, but watching it in an all inner city team. That, you know, you wouldn't think that an all inner city team would be that disciplined like they were. You know, as far as offense, defense, you know, of course, defense, they're known for defense or whatever, but offensively, to me, the patience that they, you know, that you all played with and things like that at times, I just felt like, man, these dudes is like, coach.
He was so prepared, and he always stayed not 1 or 2 steps, but about maybe 4 steps ahead of you. And he always stayed calm because he knew what needed to be done. It was just more so getting us to realize it for ourselves.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can you tell him comment on that?
Okay, let's see here. So
I'm sorry to tell.
Okay, so yeah, Darnell Essex. That in real quick and leave that question on that page so we can go ahead and have him answer that question for you. So once again, everyone watching for the first time on Facebook land and you following under Coach Boyce's page, go to our page on Facebook and then leave that question, comment, anything so we can see it on the screen so the whole world can see it on the screen.
You tell them it's the platform space for, you know, because some people...
it's right there on the screen, so ain't no excuses.
Okay.
If it can't read, hey, sorry. We have no control over that.
Nah, he can't.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. We have no control over that. But all the information is on your screen. You can go on Twitter if you like or YouTube.
Yeah,
and
if
just
you
put
go on
it in.
YouTube, subscribe, please.
Click on that.
Bell.
Because anytime we go live.
Dang. Wait a minute. I messed that one up. It rhymes. Hold on.
Come on. You get it. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Anytime we go live, you will be
notified. I had a slow moment. My bad.
It happens.
I was like, I know it wrong. Why I can't get this?
Yeah, and for those who, of course, may not know, you've been on the show now. What? It's been about a month now. Is that correct?
I've been unemployed for almost 2 months. So yeah, like a month and a half.
Yeah. So once again, a great welcoming addition to the platform Sports Talk Show, holding things down for the ladies. See, that's the DJ, MC's host in me. You know,
it's all right, cause hey, we support black business over here. So hey, smooth production.
Hold on. Wait a minute. For everybody.
Yes, everybody black. Yes,
Let's get it. So earlier we started the show off with a tribute. If you wanted to spend a little time, your thoughts on the passing of Chadwick Boseman, along with John Thompson and Louis Olsen, and also Clifford Robinson.
Yeah. But Chad, the Black Panther, I had a Facebook post and I said the Black Panther was more than just a movie. It was to me, you could see the difference, and like for us, it's always, for black people, it's always good to, like, I feel like a part of our history was taken from us. Mm-hmm. And so when we have something like that movie, like Wakanda, and you know, and they're in Africa, and this is where we're, you know, our ancestors are from, and where we're from, you know, this is our roots. That gives us like that positive image that they put on that screen. To me, it was like, man, that was so deep and so powerful, to where it was so encouraging to not only myself, but I was watching like my son and other young people, like, you know, they were walking around and they were doing the sign, and you know, and it was a proud moment to be black. And we don't really have those celebrations a lot on the big screen in Hollywood like that. So, you know, it's usually about sports with us and other things like that or whatever. But the Black Panther was like, it gave us a whole different meaning and a whole different, like, it was like a light of hope, you know. It was a beautiful movement, man. So rest in peace to him, man. Like, his legacy will be forever. His 42, 43 years of living, like, he really impacted, you know, society with that role, man. I'm very appreciative to have lived to see that too myself. So, Coach Thompson, I didn't know nothing about Georgetown back in the day. I had no idea that, you know, I thought Georgetown was a HBCU.
Yeah.
What? Like, yeah,
I did. I had no clue, you know, growing up. I'm like, oh, let's go Warriors. You know, so it was.
that's what it was, though.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like one of, you know, I'm like, man, it must be an all black school, because when you looked at the basketball team, it was all black. You know.
He made sure of that.
Yeah. And I followed Allen Iverson's story very, very close, and you know, he was one of the top players in the nation, both basketball and football.
Right.
And he had probably offers from every school that we could possibly name. But he got in that incident, you know, he had that incident at the bowling alley, and he went to prison.
Right.
You know, and so all the schools that was interested in him, you know, they fell back.
Oh, he troublemaker. He ain't gonna be no good.
Which he shouldn't even go to prison for. Y'all know that. But
Right.
The system. Yeah.
Yeah. But the fact that Allen Iverson was able to, or Coach Thompson gave him a chance.
Right.
You know, that, and, you know, took a gamble on him, man. That was, you know, that said a lot about what type of person Coach Thompson was, because he put it all on the line. Because if that goes wrong, he loses his job.
Yeah, that credibility he has, everything
Yeah. Like, you bringing in basically a felon at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, and I don't know what all the rules and regulations are with financial aid and assistance and things like that. But I don't think if you have a felony, I don't know if you can get financial aid and things like that or whatever. So Coach Thompson, man, shout out to Coach Thompson for what he did and the players that he coached, even Patrick Ewing. I was just telling a friend of mine, people don't know how much Patrick Ewing does in the community, how many hospitals he's opened. And you know, so that impact of Coach Thompson and his players, I look at what those players did under his tutelage. You know, and that speaks volumes, not only for them, you know, giving them their due respect too as well, but it says a lot about the mentorship that he gave them.
So that's deep. What about Lou Olson?
Lou Olson, great coach at Arizona. I know that I remember Lauren Woods played there from St. Louis. He had, you know, very impactful coach. I always thought, I used to call him Cool Lou. Like, he would just look so cool on the sideline. Coach Olson was one of, like, Arizona was one of those teams that it made me want to, like, when I get older, I want to just go to Arizona just to see what it looks like or whatever. So, you know, like, sports, sports can influence us in so many ways. And so, like, watching his teams at Arizona, how hard they played, how efficient they were. To me, he's one of the all-time greats. He's always prepared extremely well, and some of the guards that have played.
Man, Mike Bibby,
man,
Stoudemire,
Mighty Mouse.
He put Arizona. Coach helped put them on the map.
Man, he put them on the map.
But it's like, whoa, not in the '90s when I knew about Arizona.
Dickerson, what was it? Dickerson played there. Like the guards that they produced, and I think it was like in a 5 to 7 year span. Like he really impacted basketball. So rest in peace to him. My condolences to his family. So
and then once again, Clifford Robertson, you know, solid player for the Trailblazers at the time.
Absolutely.
Teams too.
Absolutely. He Cliff. I always, when I even just now, just remembering him, like watching him on TV, I always remember the big thick headband.
Right.
He had the big thick headband on.
His brand, yep.
And he was to me, he's one of those players that he was kind of before his time because he was a bigger wing type player that, you know, like he was very diverse though. Like in today's game, he's probably, you know, all NBA almost, you know what I'm saying? Like, so back then, everything was like just roles. You know, you had your point guard, you had your shooting guard, your small forward, your power forward, center, whatever. But Cliff was he was very diverse out there on the basketball floor. And I remember them playing against the Bulls. And, you know, he ran into Black Jesus out there. So they couldn't do nothing with Mike, man. But I remember watching him play or whatever, and the passion he played with. Great NBA player. Just some of the stories that some of the other NBA guys, you hear about him and things like that. Sound like he was a great guy as well. So, you know.
Comment from Tiffany Buchanan says Chadwick Boseman definitely our superhero. Rest well, King.
No doubt.
So as we get into going to Pattonville, I'll ask this question from Darnell, in which he followed through.
Yay, Darnell! Shout out to Darnell for following instructions.
Says, what are the challenges coaching AAU?
That's a loaded question.
I was about to say, man.
Hey, man, that's a loaded question, man. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the kid. It depends on the organization. There's so many variables to that. My thing is you just have to do what's best for your child and whatever that situation, you know, whatever organization that may be. There's real programs, AAU programs, and then we just got a little team that we call ourselves AAU. So, you know, do your research, you know, ask a lot of questions, find out, you know, talk to the coaches, talk to the people, like the directors of the organization or whatnot, because it's an investment. It's definitely an investment, whether it be money, time, whatever, it's still an investment. So look into the organization and see what's a good fit for your child.
Good answer. Because you did say it's loaded, and it is. You don't have enough time to answer all
yeah,
one time.
You have to break it all the way down.
Yeah,
like,
it's so many moving parts people don't even realize, from parenting, coaching, the team, the traveling, the money.
Yep.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. I agree with that.
So, what led you to coach for your alma mater?
So I was headed to Riverview. There was a coaching job at Riverview. I was headed to Riverview. A friend of mine said, "Hey, you know the girls' head coaching, the head coach at Pattonville stepped down. He retired. Coach McGee, he retired." And I was like, "Really?" And so that summer, so 2 years ago, that summer, I had my daughters. I have two daughters. I have she's 16 now and a 13-year-old. So they had just started playing basketball. They've been playing basketball now for 2.5 years. So we were like looking at schools, like where are we gonna send them? Because they were in private school, K through 8 for the most part or whatever. So when Pattonville popped up, I was like, that's not only a good school, but that's a good transition from them from coming out of a private school to go to a public school. To, like, my thing is, you know, I wanted them to get that diversity that I got. They were at a private school where they were the only black kids in the school, or, you know, it was a handful. So it was time for a change for them. And so when I seen the job available, I made a few phone calls, applied for the job, and I got the job. And, you know, I had I still have a lot of ambition on why I wanted that job, you know, and hopefully people will be able to see it in the next few years or so. So,
and you said earlier that you previously was coaching all boys teams.
Yep.
So what led you to coaching ladies? he had a big old smile.
That's
too.
how I said what a transition, because that's not too many people do that.
Right. Yeah.
The girls, they'll do girls to boys, but not boys to girls.
So that summer, I was coaching my daughters and a couple of their friends, and so. Like all of them had never played before. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be either stressful or is it going to be funny or whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm just going to have fun with it or whatever. The one thing that I love about coaching young ladies is that you can tell them something, and like with the difference between boys and girls or whatever, and coaching for me so far, like young ladies, if you tell them something to do, they do it.
Yeah.
Take it.
And they do it.
Yeah.
And like with boys,
You gotta fight
That
back.
knucklehead syndrome kick in. You be like, boy, I just told you to do that.
you gotta get their attention. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, hey, pay attention. Like with girls, like they're
Get
attentive.
it.
They're like,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes, coach.
that's coach. You know,
got it.
and then it was like, okay, so they listen. So I can deal with that. Like, they're respectful. Right. So they listen. So, and then they were so respectful. And so I'm like, with boys, they gonna,
Fight back.
they gonna fight back, man.
So
It's
that testosterone
Yep.
kind of test
Yep.
you. You be like,
Yep.
wait. I'm
And
trying to
so-
lose my job over you. Hold on.
exactly.
He said, bingo.
Exactly. And so, like, again, like with girls, like, then it became, like, it's very strategic. Because now, and then you got to be very detailed. Because you can say something to a young lady, and because of how most of them think, like, you said do this way. And so I would laugh at myself, and I'm like, I did tell her that.
Right.
But I wasn't meaning it, like, for you to do it directly at that moment. I was just, so it made me, in a sense, become a better communicator.
Nice.
Okay.
Better communicator. Because now, before I say something, I'm like, don't say that. Because if you say that, she's going to go out there and do exactly what you just said. And then she's going to look at you and say, well, you told me to do that, coach. And I'm like, so now, like I said, it just helped me become a better communicator. And then, again, the opportunity to coach my daughters in high school, like, that memory alone, like, I don't know too many people that would want to pass that opportunity.
That was one of James'
Yeah,
Whitfield's
that
questions.
was his question. James Whitfield,
Yeah.
what's it like coaching your daughter?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, just because I'm getting to watch her grow up. She just turned 16.
And if you don't mind, tell her about her name.
Paige Boyce. She's a sophomore at Pattonville High School. Just turned 16, August 22nd. So like last year, for her, I'm sure it was difficult because you the coach's daughter or whatever, and but then again, both of her and her sister just started playing a couple of years ago. So the newspapers there that they're talking to her and myself. They did a few interviews and like, how does it feel? And I'm like, she's like, Dad, I ain't that good. And I'm like, shh. I know that, but you can play hard.
They don't know. I know what's up.
We don't know.
Right.
That's okay. You tell us. Keep it between us.
So I'm like, it's okay because you're learning, and this is what it's about. You're learning, and her progress over like the last 2.5 years has been exceptional. Her and my younger daughter. Just again, that experience, man, like that's like, I don't even know how to put that into words, just, being able to coach your daughter. Then my other daughter will be up there next year. So, like Paige is like almost like a daddy's girl. And my other daughter is the daughter that has taught me love and patience. So.
Aww.
And then you brought up earlier about how they pretty much helped you to learn about communication. And I'm pretty sure, as a lady, one thing that you always ask men to do is what?
Man, listen and communicate. But I was going to say, that's when you brought that up and you said ladies, that you actually listen, like the guys. And I was like, see, spins off into regular communication relationships. When you talk about men and women. That's why I'm like, I didn't want to go there with like men versus women. But I'm like, you see when we talk, and look how young it starts. Like when you all tell us to do something in general, like, okay, we'll do it.
And that's so true. Like that's helped me even as an adult. Like, like with other adults and, how I communicate because I'm starting to understand it a little bit more. Like
See?
okay.
And it's not just one woman. It's like all in general.
Yep.
But, and the other side, I was going to ask you, men, women, basketball. It's an emotional game, especially when games are on the line for boys and girls team. But when it comes to the ladies, you know, if something doesn't go their way, does the emotions show any different than how a boy's emotion would? Let's just say the game's on the line and they end up losing. Like, they show their emotion the same the girls do over the boys.
Let me say this: that in St. Louis, we had some very, very talented young ladies in basketball.
Very talented.
We have some very talented young ladies in basketball, and they prepare, their preparation, how they prepare, how they work out, how hard they work, it's just as hard as the boys, you know. It's just as hard as the boys. So they, in my opinion, they deserve all of their due respect. You know, I've had a couple of kids that if they lose, like it's a, hey, you know, calming them down, like, you know, they taking it home, like it hurts. They don't like to lose, you know. So, in that regards, it's no different from the boys as far as like, you know, just that competitive spirit. So it's we have some phenomenal young ladies that can play basketball in St. Louis, Missouri. Phenomenal.
Nice. So make sure I didn't miss a question here. Oh yeah, so we do have a comment here from Anton. Said would have been a dynamic duo. Let me know who you were referring to, Anton, so we can back that up. Priceless in regards to being able to coach your daughter. Your daughter is coming up, and then how he said you're doing a great job with them. Miss Williams says even in the pros, men and women players interact differently. Her son Ed, who's one of my best friends, she said that Ed noticed that in the WNBA, the players basically huddle every time there's a free throw. The men, not so much. Cause like you said, women they digest.
We communicate, bro.
But the men kind of like,
Yeah, I know. You know. That's it. You got this, dog.
Right.
Let's just talk this out, though. We don't get this quick huddle. Let's talk this out real quick.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me check something out here. So right now, the Miami Heat are up 115 to 114. Jimmy Butler is about to make another free throw, and that's game.
That's game, man.
So So what happened was Milwaukee tied the game after 3 free throws by Chris Middleton. Then Jimmy Butler had the ball and did a jump shot and got fouled on the jumper. And so with no time left, he was able to shoot free throws, and
that's how you end the game.
Won the game.
Wow. And that's how you put y'all up 2-0.
Wow.
Yep.
Milwaukee.
They in trouble.
Yep.
They in trouble.
And the foul was by Giannis.
People, I was about to ask you who was defending Jimmy Buckets, but I can see how they put that on him though.
Yep.
To guard him. I see why, but still. Again, what I said earlier, you all can we talk NBA now? We're still waiting.
Hold on. Anton says he's referring to every review.
Yeah,
it would have been a great combination coaching.
Yeah.
And then Tiffany Buchanan, who saw the game like us, or like I did, said the game should not have been decided like that. But that's what happens when you get too close up to a player. You know, on a jump shot, you gotta give the man space.
But you know, it depends on who the ref is. You know, they're putting the best of the best right now because we've seen when games are on the line, some fouls are called and some aren't. Y'all know how they are.
Yep.
I shouldn't say they, but the referees.
Yep.
When they talking about the 2-minute warning in the NBA, it's also with not calling fouls for the most part or the stupid fouls. Like what?
Yep. So that is that. Let me go back here. So, Pattonville, how has the team been over your first year?
Over the first year, last year, again, that was my first year last year.
Season,
first season. We were very competitive, play hard. We were young. We were very, very young. We lost to senior Kelsey Mack that graduated last year, led us in scoring and rebounding. Phenomenal player, phenomenal kid, great athlete, leadership in the locker room. I'm looking forward to the future. I really am. You know, again, with that youth and those kids maturing and growing, that's, it's going to, of course, affect our team. Then we have some younger players coming up from middle school too as well that, we're going to be a very competitive team. This season, it'll be very fun to watch.
Nice.
We're going to be very fun to watch. We will probably, the kids that we have coming in this year, we are probably going to be a lot more aggressive than any of some of the past Pattonville teams that you've probably seen.
And then, as we said earlier, hungry because of the defeat that happened. So they're gonna have that in their minds and be ready to rock and roll for
Absolutely
the upcoming season. Now, have y'all been told of a set time frame in which y'all can start getting things ready for the season? And of course, first game of the season.
We are basically all the schools around are going to reevaluate in October to kind of see, how things are going. Everybody's watching the schools out in St. Charles, honestly, just kind of, seeing how how they're handling everything and how that situation is going. As of right now, there has not been any changes in dates as far as the winter sports like basketball. So we'll, if everything is okay, they'll start bringing kids back into the building, because right now we're 100% virtual at Pattonville. So they'll start bringing kids back into the building, and then we'll start activities when the kids start coming back into the building, hopefully.
Tiffany Buchanan says horrible decision defense by Giannis. Anton says he's extremely proud of you. Then Antonio Bryant, which you pretty much already answered, what's in store for the Pirates next season. So you pretty much answered that question.
Yeah.
Ms. Williams, thank you very much. Look forward to you joining us hopefully tomorrow. And, of course, next week as well. A whole lot more in store for y'all. So, Pattonville, you're doing your thing there, first season. We had a previous guest of ours, or actually two of them, who are joining you or did join you in regards to traveling to, what was it, Indianapolis? Is that correct? John Albert.
Yeah, Coach
and
Albert.
Also Coach Adriel Betts.
Yes.
So both they have been previous guests on our show. Tell us about Lady Brad Bill Elite.
Bradley Bill Elite, again, there's some dynamic talent at Bradley Bill Elite. There's Sanaya Tyler out at Incarnate Ward. If you haven't seen her play, it's must see. Check her out. Her teammate Jaden Bryant, both of them play for Incarnate Ward. Check both of those young ladies out. Marshawn Bostic at Gateway. I don't think I've ever seen, and this is boys included, I don't think I've ever seen one person impact a basketball game from the guard position 94 feet the way that she can.
Okay.
She is a walking nightmare for point guard. It's like she can really get after you, and she can really impact the game and change the game. And then offense, like she's so fast and so strong, so she's a walking fast break.
Wow.
So if you have not seen that young lady, check her out.
Nice,
She's fun to watch. Very fun to watch. A lot of talent over at BBE though.
Okay.
So how is it coaching alongside John Albert and Adriel Betts?
John Albert, he and I were coaching on the 17U circuit, so working with him. Coach Albert is a great coach, man. Like he makes adjustments well. Vashon, the girls program, you're gonna see a lot of changes.
He's getting them there. They already there. They were going for it this season.
Yeah. So he's gonna continue to build on that, right? So shout out to him. I really enjoy watching what he's doing down there. A lot of respect for him. Coach Betts, he was the head coach of the 15U team. They did a really good job with that 15. Betts did a really good job with the 15U team as well. Great coach, very detail oriented too as well. The thing about BBE this past year, they had a lot of coaches, a lot of head coaches in high school. That's a huge advantage on an AAU circuit. You got actual high school in high school, and putting them in one particular organization, that's big time. That's big
smart
time.
on that organization's part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with the ladies Bradley Bill Elite teams, do y'all start off with having everyone pretty much a tryout?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Tryouts, like the middle school tryouts, those are usually held in September. Then high school is after the season.
Okay.
After like in March, April. So the high school tryouts are after high school season.
So I'm sure that process had to be crazy trying to evaluate all the talent that y'all probably was getting.
Yes.
And then from what Anthony Booker was telling us a while back, that you're getting talent from not just Missouri, right?
Yeah.
You're getting from different
From
states.
bordering
Different states.
too.
Yeah. Well, an organization like Bradley Bill, and and Brad being who he is, there's a lot of times where a lot of people want to play for your organization, and they may not be necessarily from St. Louis or whatnot. So yeah.
They do those combo teams when traveling summer.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yep.
Kind of, they don't even practice on a week, sometimes just on weekend on the tournaments. They
Yep.
get together with their uniform, go back to their state, come back the following week for another tournament. So I know it's very
Absolutely.
common.
Yep.
Has Bradley Bill been able to meet with you guys or the team?
Well, I know on the boys' side he did.
Okay.
On the girls' side, there was, with everything with COVID, like this wasn't the typical year per se. It was a shortened season for one, because we only played in like 3 tournaments or whatnot. So, and just everything was kind of rushed. And Brad, I know he was, quarantined. He was quarantined himself with his family and things like that. So he wasn't really like out there. I don't believe so.
So, Lady BB had a couple of games, like it's tournament games. Women basketball in general. What are your thoughts? Start off at high school. I know you said there's a lot of unkept secrets out there, hidden secrets that people be like, man, if you just see this. But what are your thoughts overall about the game in regards to high school women basketball right now?
Again, St. Louis, because I watch a lot of girls basketball now. So just going around watching, like last year, I would go watch another high school team, like maybe 1 or 2 games a week outside of my own kids. So just to see, as a coach, just to help myself get better, just to see what type of talent was out there. It was, it was a learning process, and it's a continuous learning process. Like watching Incarnate, like, man, those kids are so prepared.
Yeah.
Those kids are so prepared.
Powerhouse.
And it's not by coincidence.
Oh, no.
And like I went and watched Coach Albert with Vashon last year, so and what he did with his talent level that he had, they were young. They were very, very young. I think they had maybe 1 or 2 seniors last year.
They did a good job, because that was an overnight success from last season to this past season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Albert turned it around.
He turned it all the way around.
Yes.
And just, Tony Condra down at Cardinal Ritter, he, like they're gonna be scary good coming up this year and the years to come. Live for Life, they're gonna be really, really good too. Whitfield, I don't know if they're loaded, and they got a couple of freshmen coming in over there that's gonna be special too as well, and they already have a couple of kids over there that are really special, like Division I talent special too. So again, we have multiple schools with a lot of talent around here that get the young ladies out, let them go watch some games and things like that, especially around like the Christmas tournament time that they have over at Visitation. Let them get out there and watch some of that, man. So it's some good ball being played.
Quick update. We'll talk about baseball and hockey tomorrow with our special guest, and of course, along with Joe Knows. But the Cardinals lost this evening, 4-3. Walk-off base hit by what is his name? By first baseman, Joey Votto.
Well, All-Star Joey Votto. Okay.
Yep.
At least it was off of an All-Star.
At least.
At least.
So, yeah, Cardinals had a full game winning streak and lost it off of a walk-off base hit tonight.
Oh, man.
Yep. They were almost going for that sweep. They almost had it. They were this close.
This close. Now, I know college, it's always been exciting to me.
Oh, yeah.
Just seeing the game, man. And shouts out to Noel Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
She's the head coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So she's
She
doing
played.
big things, taking over a great program from, what's her name, Muffet McGraw?
Oh, yeah.
So taking over a great program. What are your thoughts on college? Do you follow college and women's basketball?
I do. I was a big-time fan of Pat Summitt back in the day.
That was my favorite. Oh.
Program back then. Man, it was unlike it. And then I don't know if you all had a chance to watch that special on her. It was maybe about an hour or so, hour and a half. But just watching her, how intense she was, and I was like, I knew it. I knew she had to be a handful back in the day. But, you know, like Shamika Holesclaw and Candace Parker and some of them. So I really followed Tennessee a whole lot at the time, you know. So yeah. But now I'm going to definitely watch Notre Dame.
How great is it now that, for a stretch, it was UConn, but now you're seeing these other teams.
Oh, yeah.
It makes the game better.
Yeah, it makes the game better, and it's going to level it out.
Yes.
You know, because back then, there was probably 4 or 5 teams. It was, the talent level was there was such a disparity where, like, they were really heavy up top, and then everybody else was just everybody else. But now, we got, like I said, traveling and seeing some of these young ladies play from multiple states, there's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of talent out here. So, and they're all signing and going to different schools, which makes it even more interesting.
Right.
So
shout out to those recruiters for knowing to come to St. Louis, at least see this players from St. Louis
absolutely.
evolve.
Absolutely.
I know last season or 2 seasons ago, people in the media, sports media, were complaining about Coach Gino and UConn being so dominant. Even when they didn't go undefeated, they only had 1-2 losses, and of course they'll walk through to the NCAA championship. And I didn't see that as a problem because, they were like, well, that could be a problem for the game. I'm like, other people have to step up. I mean, either recruit better. I know you're always going to have your blue chips for basketball, men or women, but you just have to find the talent or do something different. And now you are seeing it because Baylor is a threat to UConn. Shout out to Dawn Staley from South Carolina. Threat to them too now. Big time. These people are like, hey, we're knocking at your door. You're eventually going to open, and we're going to crush y'all. And it's coming, so I'm just waiting. I think if we have a normal season, it can happen where we'll see another 2 years where UConn is not even going to be in the top 4, not even going to make it to the Final Four. And I'm not hating against them, but as everybody said, with same teams win year after year after year, and you don't see the competition even be competitive, it's like, But the women's game is evolving so much more now, so I'm excited to see who's the next championship.
I agree. Like the talent level is it's been spread out, so we won't see just one team. I can't really see one team. Because now, like I said, the talent level is growing. It's growing, and these kids are getting better and better, younger and younger.
And it looks like we're getting to a point where a lot of these teams want to be the Davids and not the Goliaths. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to these other schools and let's beat this powerhouse. Let's be the first team to knock them down.
Yeah, don't join the powerhouse, just beat them.
Right. And that's good for the game, the competition.
Yeah.
It's great for the game. So now leading on to, because we don't talk about the sport this sport a lot. Not sport, but more so who play it. But the WNBA, we know this year they're going through the bubble like the NBA is doing. I'll ask you first. Do you follow the WNBA a lot? And if not, what's something you need to make the game more enjoyable, more marketable?
I follow more the scores, the final scores, and of course their all-stars in general. Do I watch their games on a regular? No, but one thing I do love before the bubble, they were always, those women represented for social justice change and not holding back their tongues and demanding the pay grade to be better. They always are speaking up. Those women know what women in general we go through every day. As far as in the work environment, working where we're not getting paid equal, or we're not getting taken seriously. Now it's like, what more can they do? And they are stepping up. So they're like, yeah, pay us more. It's not fair. And now social justice, they're right there like, hey, we know the NBA players are doing it, but we've been here doing it too. As far as marketing, I mean, they're trying, and I know it eventually just takes time, but some people are still not taking them serious. But as Coach Boyce said, women can ball. I mean, these girls are starting middle school and high school, and then in college, they're getting drafted from college to play in WNBA. So they're not scrubs. These girls can ball.
And then during the off season, they overseas. Playing.
Yeah, some of them are overseas, and others, some of them tend to stay here and do a regular job. But hopefully that changes. That's because of the pay disparity. But they are balling all the time. They work hard, like you were saying. You know, their emotions are just like guys. They want the respect, and they show what they can do on the court. It's not like, oh, okay, well, they giving them a chance. No, they earned it. I mean, for all the women you see on each roster of those WNBA teams, there's at least 30 people that didn't get to make the cut. So all those people behind them to get next, that's how competitive it is. So that's why I don't believe people are trying to take them serious. But these girls putting in work. They go in the weight room too. You know, they wash their. And on top of that, for women that, especially some of the players, they're mothers too. Throw that aspect into their body after having a baby, and then getting back and putting that work in to get into shape and stuff. So they're doing what they can do. The league, like I said, finally listening as far as working with the pay and the marketing in the cities. Most of the cities, the WNBA teams they have an NBA team. A couple of them don't, but they're expanding. I mean, from the last 5 years, they've had like at least 2 to 4 teams. So I think they're doing a good job. It just takes time, but they're getting it done.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the WNBA, and do you follow that as well? Do you follow them as well?
Yes, I do. Shout out to Suge Sutton, Alicia Sutton, from St. Louis. She just got picked up with the Washington Wizards. I mean, Mystics. I'm sorry.
If it was the Wizards,
I apologize.
That's breaking news.
Nafisia Collier, too, as well. Like, you know, so St. Louis, we out there. We on the map. And, you know, but, you know, to piggyback off what you were saying, Bunny, and like the women, like, we just have to expose our kids to their game. Again, I was on the boys' side, and I'm so impressed with the young ladies and watching them play, how good they are. It's not what some people may be thinking, because I've had friends of mine that were interested in letting their daughters play, like, you know, like, Don, just be honest with me, man. Is it boring? I'm like, it's not what you think. Like, because they go out and they give it 110%. They play hard. They're diving on the floor. Like, the energy that they exert. If you love sports, you'll love watching people compete. You'll love watching those young ladies get out there and play. And then if you love basketball, like the X's and the O's and how skilled some of these ladies are, how you know, like their skill set for you know, with the men, you know, we're wooed by the athleticism part, you know. But if you're a true basketball fan or player, and you know, and you love the game, you really like seeing skilled players. You really like seeing, you know, the game broken down, and the women, they do such a good job of that. Like, they really do a really good job of, you know, just the fundamental basketball and playing the game, to me, the right way. Yeah. Like, you know, you know, you can't cheat skill. You got to put that work in and get that skill.
That's the biggest appreciation I have for the sport, for the ladies playing basketball, is you're not going to have everyone dunking over people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You have to really work extra hard, skill-wise.
Put in that work.
Yeah. Put that work in.
So definitely appreciate it. So that's pretty much in regards to getting to know you a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely enjoyed you. Now, we got to go ahead while we got the game on right now. OKC is beating Houston 44-41 in the second quarter.
Okay.
let's go ahead and get into, man, the playoffs.
Hey.
As you see on your screen, everybody. Now, it's a little bit updated because now Miami is up 2-0. You had this talk before the show about Miami and Milwaukee, and sound like you're not really surprised about Milwaukee struggling.
It's a bad matchup. I think Miami and with Milwaukee, it's a matchup thing. Styles, just like in boxing, styles make fights. I think Miami possesses just it's a bad matchup for Milwaukee right now. I think Giannis has a lot of growth opportunities. I know he's the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, but that team doesn't have enough shooters around him. A talent
Nail on
like
the
that.
head right there.
So that's my opinion about Milwaukee, but Miami, Eric Spoelstra, man, he's a lot better coach than what people talk about.
I've been saying that.
Back to
coach,
when LeBron was back there or prior to then?
Coach.
No, well, because he had to start a year or two before LeBron came.
Right.
But I was saying then that even if LeBron left, people are underestimating how he's such a great coach because he learned from Pat Riley.
I was about to say, Pat Riley wouldn't put anybody on his bench that was not going to live up to what he needs him to do in coach. I'm just saying.
That's a
Pat
fact.
Riley is a legend. He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
Look at that organization. Look at the Knicks and tell me who gets it right and who gets it wrong.
Yeah. people really thought that, okay, well, once LeBron and D-Wade and Bosh leave, Spoelstra's going to be this. He's going to probably get fired. No, Spoelstra is different.
Yep. Spoelstra is different. Like, Spoelstra, Milwaukee, just some of the adjustments that Miami, if you watch Miami play, with Spoelstra, the adjustments that he makes, to me, as a coach, you learn to value that, just learning, because coaching there's a lot of adjustments a lot of times. Not everybody does that well, but when you do see a coach that does do that well, you really have a appreciation for it. So I always admire that about Coach Spoelstra. So.
That separates you when you do adjustments well, and when you do it. I'm learning. And I do not want to be a coach, but I said I could be an assistant because some parts of the game I learned, I pick up on how in the first half we looked at the Thunder and the Rockets, and then we're gonna look at the second half. The D'Antoni adjustments.
Oh. Don't get me on.
But I'm sorry, don't
get me on.
I know, but that's all. No, they're not. Even if the Rockets win, it's not because of adjustments. Because D'Antoni. Here nor there. We go back to with the Heat and Milwaukee. Yeah. Spoelstra adjustments well, and again, that's why I said earlier with Milwaukee, it's not. You don't even have shooters, and that's why I said organization-wise. Y'all have what y'all as a coach. Something's still not clicking because it shouldn't be why is Milwaukee keep starting with 0 wins when they get these postseason games? Why are we seeing this? What is the problem? I didn't say they had to be so dominant to where they just blowing people out, but I'm like, it's an issue here. And if y'all didn't have this 4-month layoff, it'd have been even more exposure personally. But again, I'm not a coach, so what do I know?
I do know one thing. If Milwaukee loses this series, Giannis may be out the door.
Well, did you hear the rumor mill a month ago about him going to Golden State and Draymond maybe going there, that little switch and then the draft pick or something with that?
I think it was today or yesterday they had on First Take that others around the league think that he may go to Miami.
With who are they? With who the Heat have now, they're going to trade some people for him. Because if
he's going to be a free agent.
If you add Giannis to everybody that's on Heat's roster right now, I'm trying to figure out how that fit's going to go. That's why I'm thinking see, sometimes at night, everything looks good on paper. If people get on the court, it's like, what the heck happened? Giannis game and who the roster is with it. That's
But the issue that Milwaukee has, the Heat don't have that issue.
They got the shooters.
They have shooters.
They do.
Then you got Bam playing center. You can put Giannis at the 4. You got Jimmy at the 2.
You gonna put Giannis at the 4 though?
Yes.
That makes them dangerous.
Yes.
If he does,
I'm still thinking. Okay.
If he goes to either Golden State or Miami,
it's a wrap.
Golden State, it's a wrap. Golden State don't have to have Giannis, and they still gonna be
just cancel the next 3 or 4 or 5 seasons.
Nah, you ain't gotta cancel it because what I did say no, because what I said last year when the Warriors. When they were playing the Raptors, I said the Warriors don't beat the Raptors. Their dynasty is coming to an end. forget the injuries and all that. When they come back, they're going to be powerful. I'm not saying they're not going to be powerful and good, but that whole dynasty running is the league catching up. People making their moves. I'm telling you. The Warriors is not going to be as dominant as people think they are. I'm just saying. Mark my words. This time next year, let's just see.
and I mean, especially the dynasty got crushed when KD left. Like, that was the reason why. That's the start of it. That was like the hand going to the hammer before it hits the diamond.
Right.
Yeah, him leaving. Because if Steph was healthy and Klay didn't get injured, and KD was still injured against the Raptors, I still would have seen that go either way. It wouldn't been like, Raptors got this. And that's like KD been injured. Klay, good. Steph, good. So,
see, KD is the one in which you...
But they won one without KD, though.
Right. But then they also had different pieces, too, during that time.
Yeah,
you had Harrison Barnes. You had
their bench was better.
And Iguodala was there.
You had the Bogus at that time. You had
St.
Louis and David Lee
at
that time.
So without KD next season, Steph, Klay, I don't know about Draymond. They're gonna still getting the top 4 in the draft pick. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
Number 2 pick.
So if they're gonna trade that person for a person, or
and they also have, I think, the 3rd pick from Minnesota. They have like 6 or 7 draft picks over the next 3 to 4 years, which makes them very dangerous in the offseason as far as
they kind of put me in the mindset of the Patriots knowing how to make the right move.
Yep.
I mean, hands down, we know that they're good. Their front office got it together.
Very shrewd move that the Patriots be doing.
Yep.
Gonna stay the same way. Like when you saw KD going to Golden State, you were like, what?
Right. How did that happen?
Yeah. Like shrewd moves behind the scenes.
They game is what happened. They winning. That's why KD like, shoot, can't beat them, join them. And now he gonna go to the Nets. They're gonna be powerful next year. Him and Kyrie.
That's gonna be good.
That East is finally somewhat catching up now. Yeah, Jimmy Bucket's on the Heat. If he stay there,
he is.
I'm saying
extension. I mean, a long-term deal.
So,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, I could see the Heat walking away with this from Milwaukee. I'm sorry, but I said, look, something. I don't know if it's the bubble got to him or what, but Milwaukee is just not clicking. Even though it's only one game, I looked at the previous games, and that's something like.
What are your thoughts of them playing in the bubble? I love it because you can't focus on home team, away team. No, y'all just balling. Ain't no fans. Y'all just balling. It's just all about balling. I love it.
It is, but it's also, I feel like they also human. Like when Paul George he made a comment that he said he was in a dark place.
Right.
And so I'm big on when people say stuff like that. I don't know if it's a soft spot or what, but I'm like, you got to listen to people when they say stuff like that, man. But no family, like you just playing basketball. Don't get me wrong, as a basketball player, I'm like, man, it's dope, but they still human beings too. Like I'm sure they miss their family and stuff like that or whatever. But like this whole bubble concept, I love it though. Like, like just watching these games and like you can see. I think players that we may have not seen excel a little bit in this bubble situation, they're playing well, because they're not on. Like that's being able to,
travel fatigue. They feel like they're probably back in high school. Like, man, we gotta play. I don't know.
They give you the AAU feeling, like a little bit, like.
You know what I really like when the bubble first started? It felt like March Madness. All those games back to back to back, non-stop basketball.
Love it.
Yes.
Seeing games at noon.
This is what I like. Basketball, NBA, back to back. I'm like
3 games a day. You like 4 games a day.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Yeah, it's been great.
So the other series in the East, I am surprised. I had to admit, because I had Toronto going to the finals, and the way Boston is playing right now, it's going to be hard to beat Boston 3 or 4 times in a row.
Not gonna happen.
Jason Tatum said, "I'm put y'all on notice."
Yes.
Y'all ain't know about me. Now y'all know.
Tatum said,
Tatum it's my team now. Okay.
Yeah.
Tatum saw Donovan Mitchell get that max contract. He like, oh yeah. Payday is up.
I am on notice to all of y'all because even with Kemba doing a good job. Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown. Tatum said it's my team.
Their big 3 against Toronto's big 3, it doesn't.
No.
The Celtics big 3 are just better. Like they just got the better of the big three in a sense. So
I didn't think it's gonna be like this though.
it's over.
I said, dang.
It's over.
Yeah.
Bad matchup.
It is.
That's a matchup again. There you go.
A matchup again for them. It's just a bad matchup.
I just didn't see it coming like that. Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think if it pans out to be Boston and Miami, that's gonna be
incredible matchup. Incredible matchup.
That's gonna be a war.
Yeah. That's gonna be a war. Yes,
Put your armor on. Let's go.
That's gonna be a war. They gonna go at it.
Warriors.
That's gonna be.
And in the West, Clippers beat Dallas. Won a series by Luka Doncic. He just letting everybody know it's a different game. It's a different time.
Man.
Yep.
Luka the Don. Sad that Porzingis got hurt because that was a huge blow for the Mavericks.
Blow.
If he would have been healthy, this series could have been different.
Yeah.
And the refs, what was it, game 1 or 2? One of those games, it was either game 1 or 2, where the referees, when they ejected
Porzingis.
Yeah,
Porzingis,
when they ejected him, I was like, man, they stole that game from them because the momentum shift, you could tell it was kind of going Dallas' way, in my opinion, or whatever. But that series, that was a fun series to watch, though.
Also, breaking news: Leonard Fournette signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he'll be joining Gronk, joining Brady. That's gonna be scary.
Yeah,
that's gonna be scary.
Yeah. If they can make it all work in Tampa Bay, they got some. They got some.
Revive the Bucks organization because they've been sinking ship ever since they got what was that quarterback? Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
They thought he was the answer and they shipped him off. So that tells
but they putting a lot of pieces around Brady.
Yeah.
Because Brady, I knew he had to talk with that front office. If I'm signing, I'm not working with all rookies or some scrubs. Like, I'm the GOAT. That's what he's saying.
Right. Yeah.
Put people around me. That's how he got Gronk out of retirement, clearly.
Yeah. and everyone knows he's the ultimate professional and gamer. And, you don't have to go to no practices, whatever, and you ain't prepared to play with Brady. Because he don't light a fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a perfectionist,
right?
Yeah. He's a
We're
perfectionist.
talking about that mama mentality, right?
Yeah.
He holds you accountable.
Seriously. He definitely has that mentality.
So going back, Clippers, Paul George looks like he possibly found himself after being in a, like you said, dark place.
Right.
And then they did all this without Patrick Beverley playing, pretty much in the whole series. He's hopefully maybe ready for the upcoming series against the Denver Nuggets, in which that was incredible series between the Nuggets and the Jazz. Spider Mitchell, Jamal Murray. I mean, what an incredible game that Jamal Murray has been playing, showing out, dominating. I know last night's game, I understood why the game ended how it did in regards to Jamal and Spider being tired, because they've been carrying the team
the whole
back.
They back hurting because they've literally been doing it. But hey, real ballers and real players, if you're trying to go forward to the next round, you're gonna put that load on your back and carry it as long as you can. And it worked though.
And that's the beauty.
It was a lot.
That's the beauty of this bubble of playing every other day. It's pretty much like a survivor of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I was saying this to someone else, like, take care of your games. Like, don't play around and lose games that you should have won. Mm-hmm. Look at the Lakers; they only lost one game. Look at the Clippers. The Clippers doing their series. They won their 6 games, so they had the extra time to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
While you saw last night, Jamal Murray was getting interviewed by Scott Van Pelt, and he didn't even know the game 1 was going to be in 2 days.
Yeah,
he was like, "What, we played Thursday?" And it was yesterday. He like, "What, we played Thursday?"
Alrighty.
Oh man, that's why you want to go and take care of business, because you playing every other day. Ain't no 2 days
I can
off.
see it taking the wear and tear. Even I was watching the Rockets and Thunder game a couple days ago. I could tell in the fourth quarter, they started. Both sides was tired because it's just like nobody is running down the court in that fourth quarter. Nobody is trying to play. It was just like, what is it? And I said, they tired. Mm-hmm. They are. I mean, I know they're athletes, and of course they built for this. But at the same time, you doing all these games. This is game 7 now.
Right.
So you know they were in game 6 doing all that back and forth. Every possession counts. They tired. They're just like, we running on fumes, but we trying to get to the next round. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Denver is set up for years to come.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr.
I'm glad he evolved and come out. Yes.
Bobo, when he start playing more, I know about Jokic, Jamal Murray, Gary Harris. So that team, they just got to play defense.
That's it. If coach can get them to play defense,
man,
scary.
y'all gonna be some beasts.
Yeah, because they got the size, they got the inside, outside, they got the star point guard, they got the big man, and the Joker. So they got it. And Porter is up and coming, man. He could be. But he's got to play some defense, though.
Got to play some defense.
That's going to be his next step. But at least he got the offense.
Yeah, he got the offense.
We got to do it in.
He got the offense.
He's going to get that off season, and he's going to work when it's done.
And I was saying this on Twitter, like, that's the part that hurts that he couldn't be healthy at Bazoo, because Konzo would have got him right.
Absolutely.
Defensively.
Absolutely.
That's what Konzo does. Defense.
Yeah. He got that effort out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He would have got that together. So when he got to the pros, he would have been
already
ready.
To know how to,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Right now, he either run like a deer trying to catch up to people. Like, you got to come on. Bend your knees, son. Let's go.
Come on now.
He's still adjusting.
Year one. And
I don't know how, but with Denver, I know they air and altitude. So even though they're in Orlando with this bubble, but he was playing all the months previously in Denver, so he's getting adjusted to that. Hopefully, he got it together.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
So once again, right now, Houston, OKC playing. Houston is up 56-52 against OKC with 2 minutes left to go in the half.
I got faith in CP3. Shout out to him.
I know one thing. If Houston loses this game, probably the next 10 minutes after the game, Mike D'Antoni has been fired
and going to the Pacers.
He better not.
That's what they were talking about. As soon as they fired McMullen, they talking about they were going to talk to D'Antoni. Now that's why I was talking about you early. Not you, but talking with you as far as D'Antoni.
I'm like, what I do?
No, I'm talking with you about D'Antoni as far as adjustments and all that. Horrible.
Oh, you don't have to. You don't have to tell me.
You're right. I'm preaching to the choir. My bad.
Him up. I have tore him up.
You're right. I'm talking
so many times on social media.
I don't even know why does he get all this hype. It's like he's the next best coach besides.
Because he's good offensively.
That you see how the Rockets play.
Yeah.
You think this is great. He doesn't require Harden to play defense. He doesn't. Russell. That's what he does. Russell does both sides of the ball all day, up and down. Harden doesn't. He doesn't put accountability, but the previous coaches kind of didn't either for Harden. But no, D'Antoni like that run and gun stuff. You saw how they played last year in the playoff when they got slammed. Because actually, game 3 or 4 against the Thunder, they were in the fourth quarter, like 2 out of 20 on threes. You live by the 3, you die by 3, specifically for the Rockets. Other team maybe not, but him and D'Antoni likes that style. That does not work. What are you? Why my blood pressure getting up? I have no
she got excited.
I'm sorry. Because I just see, Rockets are always in the play. You see this play, and it's
they always there, but
they always there.
Can't get over this.
You see Harden, he's an all-star, great. He travels all the time, but whatever. But the fact that his style of playing, and I just hear the hype with the sportscasters, is like, D'Antoni ain't all that. He garbage. But again, I'm not a coach. What do I know?
They call him Mike D'Antoni because he doesn't know about any D.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm glad the Lakers got rid of him when they did, because he would have just crushed Kobe. If Kobe was at his peak, he would have crushed him with all that run and gun stuff. That ain't what, man.
And didn't the Lakers bypass a chance to get Phil Jackson back so they can sign D'Antoni?
Yes, they did.
Wow.
Over there. Again, I'm glad it took him, a month. Lakers Nation was like, bump this, wasn't even half a season.
Yeah, we were happy to get rid of him.
That's all I'm like, this
we
garbage.
were happy to get rid of him.
Which leads to the Lakers beating Portland 4-1. Portland came in hot. They were outside the Suns. They were like the it team going to the playoffs.
Just saying.
But because of them having to play so many games to get to that 8th spot, that pretty much sealed their fate.
That gas tank was on E.
They was on E. But when you got LeBron and you got AD,
whoo, man.
And
we talking about matchups?
But then
you want to talk about matchups?
But also, what's crucial is the guys around them had to produce.
They have to. They have to.
Yeah,
and especially like KCP.
Yes.
Like, because, like when you got 2 guys that can cause teams that can draw a double team, LeBron in year 17 and he's still getting double teamed.
Right.
You know, and then AD, you play him in one-on-one coverage. That's a nightmare, man. So, like, guys like Danny Green and KCP, they got to hit outside shots.
And see,
They gotta hit open
Danny
shots, right?
is up
Open
and
shots.
down with it. KCP, and that's why I said that shooter, that definite shooter. Danny used to be there, but it's not as consistent as it used to be. I mean,
I wish we could get Bradley Beal out there with us in LA.
hey,
man.
speaking of existence,
but
because
the
you know
whole
the
thing
Wizards
is,
gonna get rid of
like,
him.
Bradley Beal, he's really brainwashed to feel that him and John Wall can make some noise in Washington.
No,
Right.
I think Bradley's gonna get traded anyway, though. They know the value. Look how many years they've
They
had
just-
them both together.
They just signed him to an extension this past offseason, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They
Does that
did.
stop team from trading people?
No.
Come on, what kind of league
No.
you dealing
No.
with here? That doesn't
No.
stop them. Trust me.
No, I'm hoping somehow, you know, whatever the basketball guys decide, but
Come on
I hope
with it.
I hope he come on up out of there and come
I
on.
see Bill
come on
being
out here
traded,
with
and
Bron
Wall still
and
gonna be
AD,
there.
man.
They're gonna try another group because Wall and Bill have had enough time together, and still, that's not their fault. They cut 2 seasons ago, but when the injury happened, it's just not. No. They need to
Yeah.
split it, try another way. Bill's gonna end up being traded, and
Yeah.
they're gonna put some other people around Wall. But Wall's not gonna get too far with the Wizards either.
Well, now it's a three superstar team league now.
It is.
You gotta have 3. That's what
I
it
know.
seems like now. The
But
formula.
that's the organization. I mean, Scott Brooks is good coach, so what are you gonna do to make that happen?
Yeah.
You gotta keep your superstar happy, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Yeah. Right.
You're like Luther. So, what led you to be a Lakers fan?
Man, so back in the day, it was Lakers and Celtics. You know, it was Bird against Magic, and so like watching that series, it was I was just drawn more towards the Lakers. Like just like again, Magic, my all-time favorite player, the GOAT to me, and so I just stuck with it.
Nice.
Stuck with it. So.
When LeBron decided to go to the Lakers, what was your initial reaction?
Welcome. Excited.
Come on.
Welcome. I looked at him like he was the Black Panther coming to LA to save us. We had been in a dark place for a while,
years
man.
without going to the playoffs. How many years?
Man, was it 10? Almost 10 years? Like, it was something.
I forgot it's been that long. I'm like, dang, really?
Yeah. It was a drought. You know, after Kobe, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. You know.
Well, coaches, it's been a pleasure, man.
I appreciate it, man. Had fun.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. A lot of
You
fun.
enjoyed.
Definitely
Another
was
show.
a pleasure. Next week's show. I'm sorry, not next week, but tomorrow. There we go. Tomorrow he's returning, and for the first time, it will be via Zoom. We will have St. Louis Post-Dispatch sports columnist Benjamin Hockman. Last time he was on our show in person. This time he had an addition. Since the last time he was here. And we will talk about that, as he's a first-time father.
Awesome.
So he'll be joining us. It'll be our first show once again via Zoom. So we look forward to having him as we discuss sports, of course, fatherhood now, and something that I meant to touch on a while back when he's on our show last time, but I didn't get to it. But athletes versus the media. I definitely want to get into that because you have athletes who
Getting into it. Woo! Skip and Dame.
man. So I definitely want to get into it. And then we will announce who will be on the show next Wednesday on tomorrow. So it's been fun, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach
you.
Boyce. Appreciate you.
Been a
Thank
fun
you.
time, man. And for those who watch the show, thank you very much. We definitely appreciate
Thank you, guys.
y'all tuning in,
guys.
enjoying the show, the comments, the questions, the whole nine. We about to get up out of here. Shouts out to Stan. He's doing his thing, making that money. Be safe out there. He's making money the right way. So, you know,
Let's share that money then. You're making all that money. Go on and share it with us.
He's doing everything right legally. He ain't doing it illegally. Just taking care of himself, man. But we will see you within the next 24 hours as we get things going again tomorrow with, once again, special guest Benjamin Hockman. But right now, it's your boy Smooth along with
Bunny.
and special guest
Coach Don Boyce.
It's the Platform Sports Talk Show when it's about sports.
It becomes our business.
And business just picked up. Peace.
Night, guys.
Good night.